Hey, Robert. So I've been working on this spreadsheet with the end goal of mind of hopefully helping you to allocate expenses or payroll expenses to each doctor correctly. And so I wanted to just do a quick tutorial, kind of explain what I have so far, kind of a first iteration. And certainly there'll need to be some adjustments to this, but I wanted to get this in front of you, and so that we can actually start testing it. So let me kind of explain the guts of the basic infrastructure of the report and kind of how it works. You'll see down below I have 4 tabs. One is raw data. The next tab is this magic tab, and then output, and then some instructions that I'm going to try to type up and make sure that we always have that as a reference point. So ideally the scenario would be that you pull up the report that you're seeing right here out of iSolved, and you pull that up in an Excel format. You're going to copy that data out of that spreadsheet and just paste it just as is, without any edits, without any needed adjustments, right here into raw data. Of course, every time we do a new one, what I would do is I would save this as a specific month. I'm assuming you running this monthly. I don't know how often you do this, but I think I remember you saying you run it monthly. So I would save this monthly. So save this as a April 2019 report, and then use the template for next month's, so that you're coming in here with blank data, pasting it, and then saving it for the next month. That's how I would do it, but I don't think you'll break it however you decide to get the data in here and save it. So that's all you'll do here in the raw data. And then as we move over here to this magic tab, I've highlighted the information that I need you to fill out. Okay, and I know you filled out some of this. So on the left here, we have all the doctors, and you put that in. You see I put some extra docs here, just in case you hire more docs. You can always delete and replace these names. That's just fine. If doctors come and go, you can do that. And then over here on top, of course, I have all the clinics, or at least the clinics that have allocation associated with them. But I think this is all the clinics. And then I added 2 extra locations here. If there's ever a day that we need to add additional locations or doctors above the 5 doctors or 2 locations, real easy to do, and I could do that for you. But I think this will get us a start and allow us some growth as well. So again, so doctors, clinics. In the middle here, in this yellow area, here's where we'll want to do those allocations that we talked about. Okay, so for instance, within the American Fork Clinic here, if we want to set allocations for employees that have clocked in and out of American Fork, this is where we'll want to do that. Okay, and I'll try to explain that in a little more detail. But let's just say that I have 25% allocated to Michael here. I have 25% allocated to Dave Hafen, and I have 50% allocated to Doug Maurer. Okay, of course, this should equal 100%. Maybe I'll put a little something up here that sums it up for us, but this should always equal 100%. And that's, of course, because that you can't allocate more or less than that accurately. So what this is doing when you do that is, if you come over here, and again, this is just a lot of kind of details that you won't ever see, but it's good for you to know kind of the guts of it. But as we come down here and we look this data right here is pulling right from that raw data that you pasted in. So you see here that we have employees that are assigned to American Fork. Okay, so they're not assigned to a specific doctor, they're assigned to American Fork. So we need to allocate their wages correctly. Okay, and what we've done, of course, is you've come up here and you've said, okay, we want 25, 25, and 50. Okay, so let me come back down here, and as we scroll over, you can see that we have 25% allocated for each of these employees to American Fork, 25 for David, and then over here we have 50% under Doug Maurer. Okay, so that's allocating the percent of their wages. And as you scroll further over, and again, you won't have to do much for this, but I just want you to see it. As you scroll further over, now we're going to see the actual allocation of wages. So we're going to see that Michael, 25% of each of those employees' wages is right here. Okay, and as we scroll further over, 25% of David Hafan's wages are right here, or not David Hafan's wages, of the employees' wages that were allocated to David Hafan. Okay, and then we come over here further, Doug Maurer, again, those wages that were associated with Doug Maurer, which we said was 50% of anybody clocked in and out of American Fork, the American Fork branch. You can see those wages are allocated right here. Okay, so this is kind of a lot of, information that you won't use. This isn't very usable, but again, I just think it's good that you see kind of the guts of this. And so you can kind of understand the logic behind everything. Okay, so what I'll need you to do, or in order for this spreadsheet to work correctly, is I'll need you to come in here and allocate, for each of these locations, allocate the wages associated with that location to the correct doctors. Okay, and this is dynamic, and so you know, maybe this changes, and you say I want 40% to go to Doug, and I actually want 35% to go to David Hafan. That's just fine. The system will adjust accordingly, no problem. Okay, but I need you to do that for each one of these, even if it's 100% of let's just say of Copper Peaks, 100%. Maybe Aaron Ellswood is the only doctor that works there. That's just fine. That just means that any individual employee that clocks in and out of Copper Peaks, 100% of their wages is going to be allocated to Aaron Ellswood. Okay, so that's just fine to do it that way. But each location will need an allocation. Okay. Now, once we have that, we have an output. Now, this output, you may want to see it differently, and that's just fine. I didn't know how you wanted to see it. But what this output is giving us is it's adding up. So, for instance, if we look here to Dr. Barkdale, it's adding up all wages for employees that clocked in and out directly to Dr. Barkdale, and any wages that were allocated to him because an employee clocked in and out of a clinic. Okay, so let me just back up and let me just kind of walk through this with you. Let's just say that I'm going to delete this, I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to say that 100% of employees that clocked in and out of the American Fork Clinic is to be assigned to Dr. Barkdale. Okay, again, let me just walk through this real quick. So if we come down to these employees that have clocked in and out of American Fork, okay, which are these employees, we can see that 100% of their wages are to be allocated to Thad Barkdale. Then if we scroll further over, and you won't need to do this, but again, I'm just showing you the guts, Thad Barkdale, all of those employees' wages, 100% of them are associated with Thad. Okay, now if we come to output, you can see that Thad has all of those wages associated with him, that are associated with American Fork are associated with him. In addition to that, any employee that clocked in and out of Dr. Barkdale directly from the time clock are also associated with him. So that's kind of how this is set up. And again, you may want to see this output differently, but this shows you all the docs and all the wages that are associated with them. So again, hopefully we're kind of hitting the mark here. We're getting closer. But I realize this is our first iteration. So I'm going to send you the spreadsheet, send you this video. Let's put that information in here. Let's play with the output. Let's get this to a point where you really like it so that it makes this process for you much simpler. Thanks. Talk to you soon.